All right. Good morning, guys. So today I'm going to be teaching you about Pennsylvania native trees and identifying them by their leaves. So to teach you guys about this, I'm going to be using the inquiry model of instruction. And the inquiry model really focuses on the student's role in their own learning. So it really uses discussion, guided learning, exploration, and experimentation, rather than just repeating back facts that the teacher gives you. So the way we're going to do it today is we're going to do some guided inquiry. And how that works is I'm going to propose a question to you guys, and you're going to make a hypothesis. I'm going to give you some background information that's going to help you in your group study. And then we're going to do a group study. I'm going to help you guys answer your question. And when we come back together as a group, you're going to talk about how you came to the conclusions you made and your conclusion that you made. So first, just to warm up the crowd, I guess, I have a little joke about trees for you. So where do saplings go to learn?
I don't know.
Elementary school. So now I'm going to have you guys do a think, pair, share. So I want you guys to think about when you're walking through campus and you see a tree, what are some of the first things you notice? So think about that to yourself for a minute, for 30 seconds or so. Okay, so talk to each other about it.
How tall they are, how fat and skinny they are, the bark texture.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Oh, I think of the color.
Yeah.
Like if it's pretty.
Yeah.
Me too. How big the leaves are, if they're small or big. I really just think about the color.
Me too. I think about the color.
Like, oh, that's pretty.
And I think about how big the tree is and like the texture of the leaf, because some of them have like waxy. So now I'm going to give you the question that we're going to study and discuss today. And then I'm going to give you these leaves, and I'm going to have you hypothesize what they are just by looking at them. So our question that we're going to study today is, what leaf am I looking at and how do I know? So you're going to take one of your sticky notes, number it 1 through 5, and I'm going to put these out in front of you. Make sure you guys can all see them. Can you see them? That's good. And you don't have to write how you know yet, because we didn't go over that quite yet. Just write what you think it is. Do you have any question about which one is what number?
No.
No. All right. Let me know when you're all finished with that.
Okay. So we are we're writing down what tree we think it goes to.
Yep. Just tell me which one you think it is.
Okay. What if I only know one tree name?
That's okay. Just take a guess for the rest of them. You don't have.
Okay.
Just write down anything. Any tree you think it is.
Oh, there's no pine tree here. No pine tree.
Good job, Chloe. That's correct.
I'm gonna guess. Is there an elm tree?
All right. Do you guys need more time?
Yes.
Okay. It's just a guess. It's okay to be.
Totally guessing. I really have no idea. This one and that one look similar. Yeah. I got 2 down. I think I'm
All right. We'll come back to it
Okay.
later after you have some more information.
all right.
So now I'm going to give you guys some information and some terms that are going to be helpful to you when you're doing your group study and identifying those leaves and how you know what they are. So down here at the bottom of this first slide, I just have a quote from one of my favorite children's books, The Lorax, and it says, "A tree falls the way it leans, be careful which way you lean." I really think that's important to think about at this point in our lives. So some things we can look at and consider when we're trying to identify a leaf. We can look at if it's compound or simple. We can look at the leaf arrangement, the vein patterns, the color, or the leaf's edges. So first we're going to talk about compound or simple. When a leaf is compound, it has multiple small leaflets coming out of one middle vein or twig. So right here is pictured an American beech tree. Some other compound leaves are the tree of heaven and black locust, all Pennsylvania native. So simple is when a leaf is never split up into leaflets and it's always attached to the twig by its stem. So some simple leaves are maple and oak, and my personal favorite, the tulip poplar, right here in the middle. So now I'm just going to make sure you guys are on track with the lesson, and we're going to do some thumbs up, thumbs down, and thumbs in the middle. I'm going to give you guys a statement about what we've been doing so far, and if you're totally good with it, need no clarification, give me a thumbs up. A little bit iffy, thumbs down, and if you just have no idea what's happening right now, give me a thumbs down. So simple leaves are not split up into leaflets. Thumbs up, thumbs down, or in the middle. All right, good. We're all good with that? Mm-hmm. Awesome. And compound leaves have multiple small leaflets coming out of one twig or middle vein. Good. We're good?
So, sorry to interrupt. So this one is a compound.
No.
I'm just simple.
It's kind of hard to tell right now because there's no twig. It's not on the branch.
Oh, okay.
Is this one a compound?
No, none of these are compound.
Okay.
It's compound if, like, there's a tiny like twig. I'm sorry about that. And there's just little smaller leaves coming out.
Okay. All right.
All right?
Thank you for clarifying.
Absolutely. That's what I'm here for. Did I skip one? Nope. So next is leaf arrangement. This is where it gets a little bit tricky, but I swear you'll get it. So alternate is when the leaf comes out of the stem or leaves in a pattern. So basically they're just not across from each other. If we go back and look at the American beech, this is alternate because the leaflets are coming out of the stem in tiny stems, but they're not across from each other. So some other examples of alternate leaf arrangement is the tulip poplar. So opposite arrangement is when the leaves are coming out of the stem parallel or in pairs. So maples and white ash, and also I forget which other one, I didn't write down. They are opposite. So with maple trees, they're not going to be on a single twig, so they're going to come out in pairs, kind of like twins. So if it's on a middle vein, they're coming out across from each other. Here's leaf vein patterns. So this is really helpful in differentiating between straight maple and red maple because they look very similar. But the straight maple has this leaf vein pattern, whereas red maple does not. And the way you can find the stripe pattern, or the vein pattern, is by flipping over the leaf, and the veins start where the twig ends, or the stem ends. It goes all the way to the end of the leaf. Here's some examples. There's so many more. We're not going to go over them all. A big one that we can look at is color. As we all know, when the seasons change, the color of the leaf changes. Especially red maple or red oak. They turn a very vibrant red in the fall, so that's a good way to tell what oak or what maple you're looking at. And another good one is the edges or the tip of the leaf. Sometimes they're very distinct. This is a good way that I like to tell my oaks or my maples apart because red oaks have sharp edges, whereas white oak have rounded edges. And a good way to differentiate between your red maple and your white maple is red, obviously, 3 letters, and the red maple leaf has 3 tips. And sugar, 5 letters, sugar maple, 5 tips. You can do the same thing with white pine and red pine. So that's the that on that. Now I'm going to have you guys take another note card. And I'm going to have you guys write down 2 things that we can look at or consider when we're identifying leaves or trees. And then I just want you guys to write down a question that you have about the lesson so far, anything you need clarified. Are we good?
I have like a general question like about the examples.
Okay.
So like, do I just write that down or do I just ask you?
You can ask me when we're doing our group discussion.
Okay, sounds good.
Excuse me. My throat's dry. Are we ready to move on?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'll take those. Oh, sorry. Thank you. So, simple versus compound. Yep. And types of the leaves and color. Is that your question?
What now?
Oh, no, you had another question.
Yeah.
Simple versus compound, and red equals red leaf in the fall. Good job. Does anyone have any questions for me so far? So now do you remember the question that we were going to study that I proposed earlier? What leaf am I looking at and how do I know?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do a little bit of a group study and we're going to answer that question or those questions using these elements that we use to look at leaves. So let's talk about this together. Let's start with leaf number 1. Let me turn this around. So, it's obviously not red.
I think it's an oak.
Good job.
So
talk about it together. Talk about the elements.
when it's saying like the point of the leaf, is it this point? Is that what?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Basically what I look at when I'm looking at the point is like from here up.
Okay. So this one would have 3 points. This one has 3 points. That one has 1.
No, that one has 3.
Okay.
Like, and this one has 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So this one's oak. That's what your conclusion is.
Mm-hmm.
There's also many different kinds of oaks and many different kinds of maples.
I think that one's an oak too.
I don't think that was.
Why don't you think it's an oak?
Because it really doesn't look like this one.
Hmm.
That one's definitely not a red oak because that's.
I think this one's a red oak.
What do you think this one is?
The tulip poplar.
And these two?
Maples.
Yes, but there's lots of different kinds of maples.
This
That's
one
a
is a
red.
red maple.
That one's a red maple.
What about that one?
Sugar maple?
Yes.
Because there's 5 letters and sugar, and there's 5 points.
Alright. Let me.
Wait, so that one's an oak. So this one's the red oak? Okay.
So let's bring it back together. You guys are so good at this.
Chloe, you're really good at this.
You're a natural. So leaf number 1. What leaf is this?
An oak?
What specific species of oak do you think it is? It's not one we went over in the slideshow, so it's pretty tricky.
I'm a leaf expert.
I'm not sure.
It's a pin oak. So the way I like to figure this out is because it's pretty slim with the pin. So that one's pretty tricky. What about this one? What leaf are we looking at?
Red oak.
Awesome! How do you know?
It has 3 points.
It has more than 3 points.
That's 5. Right? No.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, I thought we were only supposed to look at the top part.
Oh, okay. Currently it looks like it was changing colors.
Yeah, that's what I
It
was gonna
was.
say.
See, it's a little red, like reddish here at foul. Before it could totally change. So it's dead now.
That's
So let's look at leaf number 3. What leaf is this?
red maple.
Red maple. Good. How do you know?
It's red and it has 3 points.
Good job. So leaf number 4.
Sugar maple.
Awesome. How do you know?
5 points.
Awesome. And sugar maples usually turn yellow when the seasons change. What about this one?
Tulip poplar.
How do you know?
I recognized it in the PowerPoint.
That's true. Some of them you can just recognize. So I just have one more question for you guys before I hand out your assessment. Why do you think it's important to be able to recognize trees?
Because trees help our environment.
True. It doesn't have. Just tell me what you think.
If you're out in the wild, you might need to cut a tree down and you need to know what burns better than the other.
That's good.
Animals.
That's all good. Like trees, they're homes for animals and food for animals. So if you're out in the woods, you don't want to be messing with an animal's home or their food source. And also, if you're out in the woods, you don't want to be touching poison oak,
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
as well as the American beech tree that we talked about a lot today in our lesson. That is a big food source for deers, especially in this area. But we don't want to eat that. That'll make us violently ill.
The more you know.
Yeah. So I have just a little assessment for you guys. Just to conclude the lesson. You guys are gonna nail it. There's a back.